Next article up today, we got November pending home sales were unchanged despite a sharp drop in mortgage rates. This coming in from CNBC. Quick 2 bullet points. Pending home sales in November were unchanged compared with October and 5.2% lower than November of last year. Now, that's 2023 compared to 2022.
Yeah.
Okay. And this is according to NAR. The average rate on 30-year fixed mortgage soared to 8% in mid-October, but then dropped sharply to 7.5% the first week of November, and then even more, and now solidly kind of in that 6% range, and even sometimes below 6 if you're in certain government territories. As far as government loans are concerned. So November having unchanged number of sales compared to October, but less than 2022 means to me that the fall of 2023 was the bottom for number of units sold. I think it's only going to go up from here.
Yeah, I mean, I feel that 8% once we touched in October really gave us that, like, ooh, we don't want to be here as far as, everybody in the economy, services, all around, just, this was not a good territory for people. But it dropped shortly, and we had some good momentum to end the year, finishing off December. But since the start of the year, it's been pretty flat, pretty quiet, not too much information. I believe last week, inflation came a little bit higher than we would have wanted it to after coming off a few months of, good signs. But, then again, it goes back to, hey, we see positive, and people do the exact opposite and say everything's good, which is, expected. But at the same time, I feel that, we've been saying this, hey, once there's a drop in rates, don't be too confident to say, hey, we're out of the woods yet, because we're still measuring and seeing what's working, what's not, because, hey, we don't want to raise too high, break the economy, or drop too fast, and we go right back to the same problem.
Yeah, and the thing about, and I've said this on Monday Mortgage Minute, I don't even know how many times I've said this now, but October of 2023, that was like your hand on the stove and your body reacts. Ooh, I don't like that. 8%, whoa. And it was like this really quick retreat. And look, I'm not trying to be over dramatic about it and theatrical, but the point is that 8% was not digestible by like anyone in the market. And you saw the 10-year yield. Again, Monday Mortgage Minute, you got to pay attention. When we talk about these kinds of things, the 30-year mortgage the fixed 30-year mortgage rate and the 10-year yield, they run the course together. Even though they're not directly they're not directly connected, they do run the same path most frequently. And that 10-year yield started dropping in November and December, and
we were under 4%, and now
it was almost at 5, right? It touched 5, and then it went away,
yes.
just like we touched rates at 8, and they went away.
We dropped to sub 4 for a little bit. I'm like, okay, great. We haven't been here in these levels for a while. But then slowly now we're creeping back up into the 4+.
Yeah, I think it likes 4%. I think it likes 4.25 based on what it's seeing in a variety of other economic metrics. Some that are tangible, some that are intangible. I mean, you could even you want to put like gas on the fire. You can talk about geopolitics if you want, but like the truth is, I think 4%, 4.25 is where the 10-year yield likes to be, which means we're probably going to see 6% in mortgage rates, 6 to 7 throughout the year, plus or minus a 0.25%. That's a super wide range. But here's the thing: a lot of that I'm saying is because of your credit, your loan to value limit, loan to value ratio, all that kind of stuff. But here's the point. No, October of 2023, I think, is going to be we're going to look back in the rearview mirror in 6, 12, 18 months and go, yeah, that was when we had the peak in mortgage rates in this little window of time, and we saw the least amount of volume of units sold in this window of time, and that November, December were kind of like this little kind of cusp and this like this upswing, and we're going to see more people coming up in the spring and summer of 24 that are going to be listing their house, and we'll see a lot more pending sales.
No, I definitely agree with that, and I mean, we're already starting to see it just in the first couple of weeks of the year. Fresh inventory is rolling out, and a lot of people are coming out of the woodworks. Now, one thing that I did catch here was that mortgage rates are now solidly in the mid 6% range, but supply from homes for sale is still very low. Builders are ramping up production, but new homes come at a price premium, and that's very true. Existing houses are still rising up in price as well. So, I mean, again, it goes back to the affordability. Great rates are coming down, and that's amazing. We here in the mortgage space love that. But it isn't always a positive thing as a whole for everybody in the economy, because then people start to come out and start, getting into the market, and then the prices of the houses that are there that aren't enough for the people demand go right back up.
Yeah.
So I think I feel that there's pockets in the market. There's going to be pockets where people are in, pockets where people cool off, and that's why you have to be in 2024 if you want to, take a jump in the market. Be prepared, test the waters out, get pre-approved, see where you're at, run your numbers. You don't have to do anything, but at least you have a sense of direction of where you're at. Study the market, be patient, look out for those opportunities, but be ready. Because if you try to jump when you're not ready, then you're already losing time. An approval could last a week. I mean, an approval could take a week, and in that week, that property is already gone. Unless if you were already ready, boom, hey, updated my pre-approval letter, boom, let's go. So I think being prepared and understanding how to navigate this upcoming market based on what we learned last year is going to be a huge eye-opener for people that understand what was happening last year and how they can navigate this year.
Well, and I think, you talked a lot in 2023, you used the term golden handcuffs, like
Yes.
probably as your like coined term of the year.
How many times did I say golden handcuffs on that?
Summarize Brian's 2023, golden handcuffs.
Holy cow.
But it's actually an important, it's important to say that because it's easy nomenclature to be like, hey, these people have 2%, 2.5%, 3%, even 3.5%. Look, life situations and circumstances will cause some of these people to sell their homes, even if they don't want to mathematically.
Yeah.
Even if financially it seems unfavorable to sell a house that has a 3% rate. And okay, well, now I'm a buyer. All of a sudden, after I sell, sounds like a math problem, right? But again, look, there's people are making decisions because their quality of life, where they got to move, where their kids are going, what age and stage they're in, what other kind of other compensating factors they're adjusting to. Again, I'm doubling down. I think that October, November of 23 are going to be like this, the gutter, if you will, of pending home sales. We're only going to see more sales.
I agree. And just, I was at the grocery store and I saw two older gentlemen. They looked like they were probably like, getting ready to retire.
Why'd you point at me when you said that? You were like, look, ready to retire. I would love to retire.
No, I'm making a point. Like, I know, I'm using my hand.
Like, hey, this guy over here.
Hey, if the shoe fits.
He's been bald for 20 years.
I love when you said that. I hear you don't play. I've been bald forever.
I've been bald forever. Sorry.
No, but anyways, so they were talking. And they're like, yeah, so we don't know what we want to do. My wife's going to retire at the end of the year, this and that. And we're looking to sell the house.
Yeah.
So, it occurred to me that a lot of that's going to be happening as well. People that are, getting ready to just be done. Kids are out of the house. They live in this probably huge house for no reason. They probably got built up equity for years.
Yeah.
And now they're getting ready to retire, so they don't need to be here anymore. They could go to wherever they want or literally live their life however they want.
My parents did that.
They went to Florida.
My parents went to Nevada. My in-laws went to Florida. So there's two homes at this table. There's already two sales.
And if you understand how San Diego market works, there's a lot of people here that, are going to be wanting to leave the market. They don't want to be part of San Diego. They don't want to be, what's happening in California, whatever that reason might be. But it's going to prompt a lot of people that are, exiting their workforce lifestyle into the retirement years. And maybe for them, San Diego isn't the place where they want to lose all their retirement money.
Yeah.
No, or however you see it, however you want to flip the coin. I think that's going to be a huge influence as well as we go into 2024 with a lot of people saying, hey, I'm going to list and leave.
Yeah, and I want to back that up with this part from the article because they're saying regionally that pending sales rose 4.2% in the West.
Yes.
So we are west. The ocean's a couple miles that way.
It couldn't be any more west.
And so a 4.2% gain in the West during a time when the bottom was probably already locked in. So the bottom was October, and they still had a 4.2% gain of pending sales. I mean, that means there's more units coming.
And we still have a lot of people that are just going to leave California because they just don't like what's happening, and that's okay as well because it's only going to open up more inventory. Nobody's going to want to do anything with California, and that's all going to happen going into election year. The more that we see things coming out, the more that people aren't going to like how things are going to be going. All this, I feel, is going to be a perfect storm for a lot of opportunities.
Yep. And so I'm gonna quote a friend of mine, Miguel Contreras. He's been saying this for years. He goes, people move for a lot of reasons. I think he calls it the 4 Ds: death, debt, divorce, and decisions. Just hey, look, I don't want to be here anymore. Sometimes that's just the decision.
And there's a lot of people in California that are sadly feeling that way.
Yeah, and it could be a debt issue. It could be, hey, my fixed income into retirement is going to be it's not going to be enough that I can't stay here, my spouse died, or we're divorced. Like, look, there's these reasons.
I was following up with the clients from last year, and one of the calls that I made to one of my clients last year, they had great income. They work at a import company for cars. So I called him today, and he's like, hey, I'm like, hey, how you doing, man? Rates came down. I know last time that was an obstacle for us, and it really made the payment a little bit higher. Hey, rates are down. He's like, hey, I am interested, but work has slowed down.
Ooh.
On the other hand, I have contractors, that are my clients as well, and then I talk to them. Hey, I'm coming off my best year.
Yeah.
So
it depends on who you talk to.
It really depends on who you talk to, and that's why I say, like, hey, literally test the waters because you don't know in what position you are that can actually be beneficial to you more than, you know, where you're at right now.
Yeah. And so I think cyclically we're going to see that there's going to be more home prices, well, not home prices, more homes coming onto the market in 2024. I think the spring is really going to be a big push for pending sales.
And then, you know, just to drop this information right here, do it is what you will. The beginning month is going to be a good pocket for those that, you know, want to, you know, get a good deal because we don't know how the market's going to perform yet. Once spring comes, we're going to have enough data for 3 months to know exactly what direction the market's going to move. Right now, it's kind of like, hey, let's test the water. Let's try some offers. Let's try this because you might get the deal in your favor.
Yeah.
People are rolling over from listings from last year that didn't sell that are very motivated to be able to give, you know, a good deal, which is something that we're going to get into.
And I'm glad you mentioned that because this is all backward-looking data. So, you know, you're hearing us talk about this. It's the middle of January. This is looking at October, November. Yes, it's all backward-looking data. All our predictive data are opinions all the time.
Look at it, but look at it like, how do I say it? But I'm glad we put the information down in our description so that you could go read it for yourself, interpret it however you want. Because again, these are our opinions, how we see things from our point of view in our space that we're at. So by all means, please, I love when people come up and say like, hey, what about this and that? Like, please test us. Like, we want to have that conversation. This is exactly what we do this for.
Yeah, I pitched a question in the comments just last week asking somebody to elaborate on their point because I didn't understand what they were trying to say. It was clearly written. That wasn't the issue. The issue was that in certain areas you can't do what they were suggesting. So I was like, tell me something maybe I don't know. And so I'm hoping that we get a positive response to that.
Yeah, and just always pay attention to your hyper market, like your hyper local market, because what's happening nationally doesn't always fit the case of where you're at. So like, you know,
even if we're talking about national
even
stuff.
if we're talking about national, please just double check with your realtor or a trusted real estate professional in your area so they could give you information related to your market.